Welcome back to the NetUtils Tech Roundup. In today's roundup, Malcolm and I are going to discuss solutions to some of those common network bandwidth issues that you may have experienced during the recent Olympic Games. Now, the Olympic Games in some instances had the effect of highlighting some network issues that already exist. The result being that the networks just simply couldn't cope with the increase in network traffic, and your business critical apps suffered as a result. So today, Malcolm's going to talk us through a typical example with a company with a site-to-site VPN between themselves and two other branch networks. So Malcolm, can you just talk us briefly through what the issues were at this particular company?
Yeah, definitely. As you mentioned, we had a client with site-to-site VPNs between a couple of branches. So I'll just draw that up here where we have branch 1, branch 2, and say branch 3. Over there, you had site-to-site VPNs connecting all three sites. And what that basically meant was any user from any of these branches could basically go to any branch to work on any particular day, and on average they get about 100 or so users that are working out of their local branch in another branch. What that means is all the traffic from that branch goes back to their local branch to pull their emails, their files, their CRM, SharePoint, or whatever other applications they run. During the Olympics, a lot of these users working out of their branch offices basically were complaining about slow applications, slow access to their files and so on and so forth. And it was very difficult for the IT team to figure out what was chewing up their bandwidth. So after a period of time, it became very, very difficult for the users to work at all. Productivity went down, especially about halfway through into the Olympic week when everyone figured out, Olympics had started and they could start streaming content and so on and so forth. So it was a very difficult situation, and productivity, like I said, went quite down.
So what was our solution? What was our fix for this?
Well, initially what we did upon inspection is to try and see if we could figure out through their proxy what was actually going in and out to the internet. Normally streaming content from the broadcast of the Olympics would be via streaming protocol or something, so you could easily pick that up and block it. Unfortunately, in this case, the streaming content was actually just via HTTP, so it's not easily picked up. In addition to that, the broadcaster has load balancing and hundreds of servers, providing that streaming content to millions of users. So it's very difficult to pinpoint particular URL or source IP addresses. But eventually, after some hard work, we managed to find the source IP address of most of the streaming content, and we basically blocked it on their proxy. It's not obviously an ideal situation, blocking the content, especially during a home Olympic Games, but that was what we had to do in this particular case.
So blocking that content was a fix for that, so business critical apps could carry on running, but that sounds like quite a reactive way of approaching this issue. Is there not a more proactive approach that companies can use to prevent this kind of issue occurring?
Absolutely, and obviously that's what most networks would like to do, be more proactive rather than reactive, like you said. A very typical example of a vendor or appliance that would solve such a situation is Exindar with the Unified Performance Management solution, which provides you visibility control and acceleration. You can easily have an Exindar appliance at each of these branch offices to allow you visibility of what's happening on your LAN and your WAN. So typically you'd have an Exindar or any branch office there, and straight away you don't have to wonder what's chewing up my bandwidth, why can't I access these applications. You can see straight away.
You've got that visibility, as you mentioned.
Absolutely, you can see applications if they're utilizing more bandwidth than usual. You can see source IP addresses, destination IP addresses, users, if they're particular users that are maybe spending the whole day streaming. And you can easily then control what those users or source IP addresses or whatever, what they're doing. So like I said, there's the visibility and then there's the control. What that means is you don't have to just block the content, you're basically just controlling how much bandwidth those users are utilizing. So you're not affecting normal daily work.
And presumably prioritising those business critical applications that were falling over during this bandwidth spike.
Absolutely, exactly. So with your same bandwidth, not spending more on your pipe, you can prioritize your business critical applications. You can control the amount of bandwidth that streaming content to the broadcaster is using up. And if need be, if you had applications that were resource intensive, you can actually accelerate as a third step. You can accelerate traffic because you've got extenders at each branch. You can accelerate traffic as well to give the user a better experience.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for talking through that for us, Malcolm. That's really useful.
No worries.
As usual, if you want to have some more information about Exinda or any of the solutions that network utilities offer, please check out our website, www.netutils.com. There's also a useful white paper on there called Exinda Edge, Assuring the Strategic Branch Office Network, which you might find useful. Thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you soon.